Welcome once again to the NFC Beast episode 14, week number 17. This season is rounding out. We got quite a bit to get to. We weren't on last week, so we're going to give you guys a double dose going into this week. We got week 15, 16, and we're going to preview week 17. And also, we got a full crew in here. I'm going to bring some other guys in here in just a second. But cool, let me come to you first. How you doing tonight?
I'm great, man. Great. How are you, man?
Good. Sam, how you doing?
Doing great. Excited to be here once again.
Awesome. Good to see you. We got the one and only Wise El Jefe in the building. How you doing?
I'm doing well, brother. How's everybody doing?
Good, man. Good to see you. And then we got Marty Marr down there. How you doing, Martin?
What up? How y'all fellas doing, man?
Good. Hey, if y'all side note, if y'all haven't seen that Martin reunion show, if you're a Martin fan, I would definitely say check that out. Gave you some insight on a lot of the show. But
I just watched it this past week. It was good.
It was good. I was a little skeptical because I thought they was gonna do a reunion, an actual show, but it was more like a sit down conversation. But it was still good.
Yeah, I have to catch it. I haven't caught up on it yet because Martin is my dude for real.
One of the best. One of the best at it. All right, so week 17, man, the season's gone by so fast. It's not even funny. Just everything going by so fast. The games are rounding out. We'll be talking about some playoff scenarios tonight. Obviously, like I said, week 15, 16, and 17 we'll be getting into. So first, let's kick it off into week 15. And we had some slate of games, and we'll also touch on some other topics for each team. But Giants and the Commanders battle it again. Giants end up getting the win from a tie the last time. And just on a side note, NFL has to figure out how to eliminate ties. I don't want to hear anything about another tie. To me, that's the absolute worst. You might as well say you lost. And in your division, too. So, Wise, I'm going to go to you first. Week 15, the Giants beating the Commanders. Give me your thoughts.
It was I don't know how to say it. It was it was I guess we could have lost that game just as easily as we won it. There was some calls and stuff that people weren't happy with. It's the same thing like with that tie. Like we should have won that game, but we let them score that last drive with Heineke and Kurt Samuels and all of them hooking up with those passes. But it was a W. It was ugly, but it's a W. We'll take it.
True. And I think at this point in the season, that's what all of us are saying. Hey, a win is a win. You can get it how you can get it. Some wins look prettier than others, but definitely get it. All right, Martin.
I ain't gonna be as modest as Wise. I'm not, because both of them games ticked me off. We had the momentum in the first matchup against the Giants. We had a 10-point lead, allowed them to come back into the game. Our bread and butter was running the ball. We got conservative. You know what I'm saying? Then the Giants, we couldn't stop Daniel Jones. We know Daniel Jones always turns to Lamar Jackson against us. We still can't figure that out. You know what I'm saying? That's annoying. Then it ended up, we had to drive down the field, Um, Jahan Dotson got the touchdown to tie it up. Then when both teams got in overtime, it looked like neither one of the teams wanted it. It's like they was really playing for the tie. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh well, hey, you go down the field, go 3 and out, or your turn to go down the field 3 and out. And then we both got stuck with a tie because it hurts us more than it hurt the Giants. You know what I'm saying? In a sense. And then we had 2 weeks off, and we still come out unprepared. It doesn't even make sense. The same team, and then you get conservative. Yeah, that pass interference, that pushing it back by Jahan Dotson. Tahaniki should have ran it in instead of running out of bounds. We was running the ball against them. Brian Robinson had 12 carries for 89 yards, averaging 7.4 a rush, and you go away from the whole plan. And then the Giants took the win. So it's more on Washington, the Giants. The Giants did what they had to do, but it left us in a situation that we in now. So
yeah, it's one of them division games that you're gonna battle, and either team's gonna be upset. Whatever team loses is gonna be the one upset because we all still fighting for position. And as of right now, all teams are in the playoffs. We'll talk about what some other things that could happen, but that's the positive note. Let's get to this. Let's get to this Cowboys losing to the Jags. I don't. Man. There's no better way to be upset than to throw a pick six at the end of the game against the Jaguars. Now, I've said this; they've been better over these past couple of weeks, but it's still the Jaguars. But the Cowboys will figure out a way to lose a game like no other team will. And I think, for me, the biggest concern is I don't know if I can fully depend on Dak when the game's on the line. Does he do it often? Yes. But this season, it's so up and down, you just don't know. Between the second and third quarters, it's all good. When it gets down to the fourth with 2 minutes, I got concerns. And I think that defense also had a little bit of an issue getting to Trevor Lawrence. And he did cause that fumble, which kind of flipped the game. It could have worked in our favor. So this is a loss I wasn't too happy about, but you fast forward to now, we've been on a 2-game winning streak. So, we'll take it. We'll take it how we can get it at this point. But that was a tough loss. That was a tough way to lose. All right, let's go Eagles. Eagles beat the Bears. Sam, we're gonna go to you first.
Well, this was another one of those wins that I thought should have been a blowout. We ultimately let the Bears stay in it. I'm happy about the victory, especially given the way the following week went. But at the same time, I think there was a lot of room for improvement yet again, and just left a lot on the table there against Chicago.
Yeah, I agree. Cool.
The thing that disturbed me the most about the Bears game was you allowed Justin Fields to be Jalen Hurts. And it's like, bro, you go against that in practice all the time. What in the HE double hockey sticks are you doing? And I mean, I get like certain people were out and whatnot, but at the end of the day, a guy should not be able to run over the Philadelphia Eagles defense from the quarterback position like that when you go against a guy every day in practice that can do that. Yeah. So it's like, what are you doing? Like, you have to come out for every game playing your best. We definitely did not do that against the Bears for most of the game. I could argue the entirety of the game. We were able to win a game, but another win that was a disappointing win. And there's been 5 or 6 of those that we've had this year. I still take the wins because wins are wins, but very disappointing wins from the aspect of how you're actually playing in the game. But, wins a win, so I will take it, but have to be better than that. Like, you have to be better than that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think the biggest thing for defenses, which I'm seeing with the Cowboys too, is that you may go up against it in practice in real time, they look out of sorts sometimes. They forget what gaps they're supposed to be in. They forget that whoever's watching the quarterback, that's your job, and then they get caught off on. So I definitely get it, because the same thing happened to us when we played the Texans, and this was with Jeff Driscoll. When the last time that name has been said anywhere?
With the
Jeff
drizzle.
Driscoll. Right.
Just with the drizzle.
Drizzle me,
Drizzy.
man. Drizzle me, man.
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
when the last time you seen that guy? So, and that's one thing about Justin Fields. I like the guy. I just don't think, as of right now, I don't think he's going to have any success in Chicago. I think his skills are great. He'll run around you. He'll get, rushing yards. I think he got 1,000 yards this year, but he's not winning anything. You're not winning anything in Chicago with the way this roster is right now. So
Exactly.
that's the downside. The good thing is he's got all the talent, and when he scores that one touchdown, he's going to be excited. By the end of the game, it's going to be an L. That's all. That's it.
And unfortunately, half the time he's gonna be on the sideline with some injury or another, because they're trying to run that man like he's like he's Jerome Bettis, and he's not.
Right. He could be on the sideline with a back brace on. That's gonna be the concern.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to our next set of games. We're gonna kick it off week 16, which we had some good games there as well. And the first one, Giants lose to the Vikings. Give me your thoughts on this. Why is this
tough loss? It was a tough loss, man. I thought we played well that game. Just came up short, man. The Vikings just had more firepower than us, but it just shows you that we're headed in the right direction. We're headed where a few more pieces on offense will be able to compete with some other teams. Like right now, we rely too heavily on our defense, and by the time the end of the game comes, they're worn out, and the other team's offense is just going all over us. But once we get that offense going and we get some more weapons in place, I feel that we're a couple of pieces away from really competing with this division.
Yeah, I agree with you there, and I think too with obviously if you got a healthy Saquon, anything is possible, and your defense continues to get better. They did a piece on Dexter Lawrence. I don't remember what game it was, but just talking about that presence he brings on that D line. I love Thibodeau. You've been talking about Thibodeau all year. The dude
he's finally been he's been playing some great ball, man, and he's only going to get better. In that line is just going to be. Come on, you got him, Ojulari, you got Leonard Williams, you got Dexter Lawrence, who's by far the best. He's been the best defensive player on our team. You have a lot of talent on that defensive line, and then that secondary is there. There's some gamers that secondary. We miss McKinnon. I think he'll be back this week, and hopefully we can pull out a victory this week.
Yeah,
but it was a tough loss.
Yeah, Thibodeau is a monster, boy. He gave us the fits.
I mean, I'll say this:
every
Daniel
team
Jones has played really well with what he's had. There's been some frustration, obviously, because you don't have the guys you need to sometimes make the catches. But he's made a lot of really good throws. He's been very impressive to me this year. You know, I was a guy coming into the season laughing like, "Oh, these dudes gonna keep Daniel Jones." But I mean, I'm not gonna sit and say he's like top 10 quarterback, but he's probably top 15 guy in the league right now, and he's doing enough to win. But when you have a dearth of injuries and you don't have the talent that you need at the wide receiver and tight end position, it's difficult. But I mean, he's doing out there and doing his part, and that's all you can ask from him.
You can see the difference with Daniel Bellinger in the lineup, and while Daniel Bellinger's been out of the lineup, it's opened up the passing attack for Daniel Jones. And the big thing for him this season has been his turnovers. He hasn't fumbled as much as he has. He hasn't thrown as many interceptions as he has. So he cut down on the turnovers. So he's been able to do what we've asked him to do, which is not turn the ball over. it's just the rest of that offense. Besides Saquon, him and Saquon they've been that two-headed monster as far as the running attack goes. It's just that passing attack. If we could get a couple more weapons on that offense, some receivers that will be out there catching the ball, they'll be dangerous coming the next coming years.
Yeah, and I love Bellinger, man. He's got that similar Jeremy Shockey, type feel. Big tight end, catch the ball. I had him on my fantasy team. He was kind of up and down, so I had to drop him. But next year, he's definitely gonna be a top tight end in the league. I think he's got the ability. Let me give a quick shout out. You can't see who this is. It says Facebook user, but this is my guy Chief Rocker. He's a Ohio State fan, so he says Buckeyes. I don't know what the score is. I'm assuming
21-7.
Yep.
21-7 Buckeyes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he and he's a Giants fan. So
bless his heart.
He said G-Man tomorrow. So you got somebody. Hey, he may be a good backup to have.
That'll be work, yeah.
Yeah. But he said G-Man. Shout out to End of the Bench Media, my man A-Trap. Thank you for tuning in. He said, I hope they both lose. I guess talk about Ohio State and the Giants. Got some header right in here. Let's bring in a fellow Cowboys fan. What's going on, Nathan? Can you hear me?
What's up, guys? How you doing?
What's going on?
Good,
Happy
good.
New Year.
Happy New Year to you
almost.
too, bro.
Almost
there.
I'm ready. Look at this. Woo!
All right, we're talking about Week 16, so I'll come to you in a minute. We'll get to Cowboys and Eagles, but Commanders losing to the Niners. And give me your thoughts on this, Martin. And was this the reason? Is this the reason why there may be a Carson Wentz signing this loss?
My personal opinion, no, because there was things in this game that we should have took advantage of with the 49ers. I mean, when you didn't mass protect against the Kerry Kittles, you know what I'm saying? And then so whoever I can't hear.
Yeah, I'm gonna put you on mute, Devin. Got some background noise. Right,
so when we went down there on the first time when we tried to score, we should have either took the points. I get it going for it on fourth down, you know what I'm saying, trying to, create momentum, but take the points. 49ers is too good of a team to not take advantage of certain situations. Granted, we came back and scored after they scored, and then it was 7-7 going to halftime. Second, coming out of the half, we should have mixed a little bit pass and run a little bit more. Stop trying to go for it in certain areas to give up certain things. Yeah, Taylor Heineke had an interception, and our offensive line, when it comes down to pass protecting, is really bad on the left side. So when the line get caved in, he's too short to navigate out because everybody's compacted on top of him. So they crushed him, and he lost the ball. He did lost a fumble down at the goal line also. But to me, it goes back to the two games for the Giants. If we had won them games, I think Taylor Heineke wouldn't have be replaced by Carson Wentz. I don't fear the 49ers. I think we lost opportunities that we could have really maximized against the 49ers, especially when you hold McCaffrey to 46 yards rushing. These are the type of games that you're supposed to take advantage of. You got wide receivers that could took advantage of the matchups against the 49ers secondary. Now, like I said, Bosa, he was a handful because we couldn't pass protect. So it made our game speed up more. 49ers made us speed up more because they was concentrating on the run. Then we got penalties. So we kind of like killed ourselves in a sense. But Carson Wentz came in with 9 minutes left in the game, but the game was like what 14-30 at that time. I mean, he scored a touchdown. We was down 10. Then you go for it, 4th down in your own territory at the 30. Get them another 7 points when you could have just kicked it, and then you had a bad onside kick. I don't even know what that was about. So overall, I'm very critical when it comes to Ron Rivera and this coaching staff, how they make decisions or their game management or how it's situational football. You gotta. If you was playing for the national championship, you can't. You could go. You could. The word I'm looking for. You could go for it, be gutsy, but when you not that kind of team that could, you have to have a lead to protect. You gotta take what you got right, the points that you have right there. So, I mean, hats off to the 49ers, but if we get in the playoffs and we have a chance to play them again, I think it'd be different. And Chase Young played that game, so he did pretty good that game, you know what I'm saying, for his first game back. So, I'm looking to see what more he could do.
Yeah. And I wanted to ask you this.
Yeah.
What are you thinking about Ron Rivera? You think this is it? What are you hearing?
Well, me personally, I say this on my show a lot. This team gonna either coach us in or coach us out the playoffs. And tomorrow's, I know we haven't get to it yet, but I'm looking at tomorrow's game, because if we don't make the playoffs, knowing that new ownership is coming in, me personally, I just don't see Ron Rivera and this coaching staff staying. You know what I'm saying? He has to get this team in the playoffs, and they gotta win the last 2 games, get in the playoffs, at least win a playoff game for him to remotely be there. But I just don't want Scott Turner. You know what I'm saying? So me personally, it's kind of everything rests on tomorrow's game pretty much for me. I would like to see a whole new coaching staff. There have been a lot of rumors about Jeff Bezos, Sean Payton, Tom Brady, Derek Carr. I mean, it's a slew of things out there right now. So if there's a new owner that's already bought this team, nobody hears about it yet, I feel like the team has already been sold. Just nothing has been coming out until after the season. Then I'll say, okay, then we need to go in a whole new direction. I think Ron Rivera's ceiling for this team has capped off. 3 years, 7 wins, nothing else. We got a division title out of it during the COVID year, but there's no progress to like 8 or 9 or 10 wins. You know what I'm saying? And this team has a lot of talent. I mean, I'm sure you could take probably Cool's coach or Doug Peterson, Sean Payton, Andy Reid, or somebody to coach this Washington franchise, and I guarantee you we'll be 11 or 12 win team every year with the talent that we have.
Yeah, I agree. I actually agree with you there. And I think with the new ownership, which I agree with you. I think the team is probably already sold. They're probably already working and ironing some things out, but they can't say anything right now. But I think it'll probably usher in a whole new staff. I don't know if they will, allow this current staff to be here. Sam, you want to say something?
Can we get a new name too, please?
Bro, look at here. If they call me on the phone right now and say, "Hey, I want your input," trust me, the first thing we going back to the Redskins automatically. There ain't gonna be no Red Wolves, Sweat Hogs, Generals, or whatever. The Best Friends Club, whatever it is. We going back to the Redskins. I'm telling you, man. Oh.
Yeah.
The only thing I was going to say is that it might take longer than you would expect to sell that team. I mean, we just watched that in Denver, and it was like a 2.5 year long process. And I mean, I know there was a little bit different situation here, given the fact that it was under a trust and not one ownership group. But still, I don't know if it's going to be that quick of a process.
And you got a good point. I would compare this to, going NBA to the Donald Sterling situation, and they basically
all the Phoenix Suns.
Yeah, they sped that thing up real quick.
Yeah.
So, who knows? We're not in the in crowd as far as that conversation goes, but who knows how quickly they'll want to get this done. But I think it's going to be through the off season, and I think they'll get the thing done. But the thing about, which Martin, you probably noticed, the thing about Snyder is that he's dropping dimes on every owner. Like that photo of Jerry Jones,
Yeah.
I am not surprised if he was like, "Hey, everybody," or whoever released it, he was like, "Hey, I got this photo," or somebody he knows probably slid the photo over there. The same thing with the email. So if Dan Snyder, you're probably right. No, I'm gonna back up, Sam. You're probably right because Snyder's gonna probably try to burn every owner in the league, and they're not gonna want that to happen if if it was up to him. Shout out to A Pizzle. Thank you for tuning in.
Hey, yo.
I wanna jump in on that a little bit. Jerry Jones is probably one of the most powerful owners that's in the league, and hardly anything moves without Jerry Jones. And Jerry Jones and Daniel Snyder used to be close until that happened. And then you had Jim Irsay coming out, but then he kind of backtracked a little bit because I think he leaked something that probably was already in the works, and then he had to like minimize and cover it up.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But Jerry Jones, if Jerry Jones ain't friends with Daniel Snyder, and that photo come out, you best believe them other owners gonna listen to Jerry Jones. And if Daniel Snyder does not sell that team automatically, I think they already prepared. They just couldn't say it at this last meeting. And the next one is in March. So between now and March, we should hear about this team being sold. But if not, they already prepared to vote him out in March. So they giving him a chance to go ahead and do it now instead of go through that, because he got all these litigations is going on. So $7 billion, Jeff Bezos could sneeze $7 billion right now.
Yeah, he got $7 billion under the mattress.
Yeah, and then you see
point.
and you see, I just seen a picture of his girlfriend. Man, I was like, yeah, the rich.
Money change everything.
I know, boy.
Sure do.
All right. Let's get to this Cowboys Giants, and the bigger story I want to get to.
You mean Cowboys Eagles?
Oh, my bad. Yeah, Cowboys Eagles. Cowboys beat the Eagles, but Jalen Hurts did not play. It sounds like they're teetering on if he's going to be out tomorrow. So I know you guys know, is Hurts playing tomorrow or is he out?
We haven't played any player that was doubtful on Saturday, report on Sunday, all season. I don't think that's going to change this week. He's going to try to play, but he's not going to play. I don't see him playing. I'd be surprised if he's anywhere but in the sideline on his jumpers with a headset on.
Yeah, on the sideline. But Gardner Minshew, I got hats off to this guy. He played one hell of a game with that porn stash that he has. He played.
That's a White Goodman. That's what that is.
Right.
That's the White Goodman stash.
He played one hell of a game.
His own blood that he bleeds.
He played one hell of a game, and the Cowboys, they got away with one because there were some opportunities, especially towards the end of the game, that the Eagles could have won it. Once again, Cowboys seem to not be good at finishing games when things matter. And a lot of people are like, oh, it's going to be Gardner Minshew. It shouldn't be a problem. Nah, Gardner Minshew I would compare him to a Heineke. If he had opportunity on another team, his players would ride for him. Now, I'm happy the Cowboys won, obviously, with positioning in the division. But I've said this, I don't feel overly confident of how they won. A win is a win. But cool. Give me your thoughts on this game. How are you personally feeling about Hurts, as we get towards the end of the season?
I only want to see Hurts for a quarter next week, assuming we win this week, just so he's got a little chance to get out, throw some passes, and make sure he still got his timing. You know, we have goals of doing things deep into the playoffs, right? So right now, we should be able to win games with Minshew, right? Um, the coaching staff did Gardner Minshew nothing. They did him no favors. They put him in situations that you would have used Hurts in. And if you knew that there was a good chance that Gardner Minshew was going to play, things should have been different. Running the RPO with Gardner Minshew was a joke. Putting him in quarterback bootlegs, plays where he would run, is a joke. And the reason that that's a joke, Gardner Minshew is not Jalen Hurts. He doesn't have the
Right.
ability to make you say, hey, he's a threat to run the ball. So you have to change your playbook based on the quarterback. So I blame the head coach and I blame Shane Steichen for that. I've said all year, say it again in this game. Defense was putrid. The play calling on defense was putrid. Um, it seems like the only thing that our defensive coordinator has got any better at is blitzing, is win the blitz. But as far as coverage in the back, it's like he doesn't even know anything about that. Everybody needs to play 4 to 6 yards off, and they guys catch the ball. Oh, and by the way, your best receiver's in the slot, so we're just going to leave our fourth corner on him by itself all game, and somehow that's going to be successful. By the way, great job, Jonathan Gannon. I hope someone hires you so you're gone.
And Sam, I'm gonna go to you, but before I say that, Devontae Smith with 113 yards, 2 touchdowns. AJ Brown with 103. This Cowboys secondary, which I think we learned a very valuable lesson. Do not ever put drawing a blank on this guy's name, and I draw a blank on his name for a reason because he cannot cover. But whatever that guy's name is, the guy from Kentucky, the corner. But anyway,
all you gotta do is put him on Quez Watkins.
Whenever he's out
take
there,
the ball from him.
He looks worse than Anthony Brown. Anthony Brown, Mr. I don't turn my head around. That's like corner 101. Even if I was playing corner, I would turn my head around. I would probably get burnt, but at least I'm gonna turn my head around and figure out where the ball is. The dude never turns his head around. But yeah, we learned a very valuable lesson that you cannot continue to play this guy at corner, which you can't play him on special teams either because he was making mistakes on Thursday with that. But Sam, I'll go to you.
Yeah, I would totally agree. I mean, I was surprised by the fact that it was such a shootout. It was like we kind of went away from the running game right away. I mean, both teams ran the ball about 25 times for about 70 yards, and that was it. That was it for both teams. So it's kind of surprising to see. I was expecting a solid performance by Minshew. I have to say that second interception, what an amazing play by that defensive back. That should not have been an interception. That literally, I do not blame that on Minshew at all. But with that being said, there was still a fumble. There was still an interception. There were still some mistakes on the field that I didn't think would have happened had Hurts played. And unfortunately, my personal fantasy team suffered because of it. Thanks, Hurts. But with that being said, it was a fun game to watch. I mean, it was very back and forth. The whole game, I was on the edge of my seat, sweating. It was a fun game. It was a fun game to watch. And ultimately, at the end of the day, I said it after the game. I'll say it again. I personally think Dallas is the toughest team we will face throughout the playoffs. I think that 49ers are doing great. They're a tough team as well. I just think that Dallas matches up very well with what we do. So I think it's going to be an exciting game should we play them again in the playoffs. And it'll be interesting to see how everything shakes out this season.
Yeah. And the name I was looking for was Kelvin Joseph. So Kelvin Joseph was, I think, a second-round pick from Kentucky. His first year in the offseason, he ended up getting caught up into some type of drive-by shooting or something. They said he wasn't him. He was in the car. So it didn't start off with a good foot. When he's on the field, he's not on a good foot either. I think he's probably a great guy. I would love to interview him on the show, but he cannot play corner for this team any longer. So put him on special teams. That's fine. Shout out to Deron Bland, I think is the guy that got the pick. Now that guy, 5th round pick out of, I think, Fresno State. I honestly forgot that they drafted him, but he should continue to get more run, which he has been, which we'll talk about going into week 17. So as we get into week 17, I want to first go to you, Martin.
Okay.
So it seems like Carson Wentz will be starting.
Mhm.
Is that correct?
Yeah, he's going to be starting in place of Taylor Heineke. Ron Rivera said early in the week, going into this weekend, he said they feel like they need a spark. They feel like Carson Wentz had did some things that he liked when he came in the 49er game. I mean, maybe it's me. Maybe it's just me.
Yo,
You know what I'm saying? So
I don't mean to interrupt you, Martin, but Ron Rivera has either done something that Carson Wentz has video of, or he's using some kind of substance
Man,
to
look at
help
him.
him have an elevated state of being to say that Carson Wentz is going to be a spark.
He
I'm
did
sorry,
something
that
you
is a
liked?
joke.
What?
Yeah, that's what he say. Oh, the best is yet to come now. Watch. So he said Carson Wentz did something he liked. I think Ron Rivera see now. I just think so. He
That's a
had
fair
the
possibility.
press conference. He literally, they asked him about the offensive line. He literally say, "There's nothing wrong with the offensive line." He say, "Y'all making it more than what it is." I'm scratching my head. Is like if I had some magical powers and I could just go through the screen and just slap him across his head, I would have. I was like, dude, this offensive line in pass protection is very bad on the left side, and you have not fixed it because you were too stubborn to bring Eric Flowers back because you wanted him to take a pay cut, and he was already not making much money instead of go to somebody else to take a pay cut. And then you got mad and then released him, and then the man is sitting home when you definitely knew you needed him on the left side. But all in all, Carson Wentz is starting. I done had this conversation with my other panel, and we was going back and forth with the Heineke thing, and he's too short, he's not strong enough, and I had to go and pull up some stats of short quarterbacks on them. Carson Wentz, this is up to him. He's the starter now. We already remember from last year. Mm-hmm. Our team is too talented, way talented than the Colts was last year. So he can either make it right and win this game and go into Dallas next week, winning the game because Dallas probably pretty much is not going to play most of their guys. Dak probably won't play. They have a chance to win both games and get in the playoff. Lose this game, your career is over. Ron Rivera's career is over. Simple as that. I mean, I can't sugarcoat it, because this team should not be in the position they're in if you didn't mismanage some games. We lost games that we should have won, and to the credit of the coaching staff, and I thank Heineke for all he did. Everybody wants to nitpick on his deficiencies of turning the ball over, but guess what? The defense hasn't been strong for the last couple of weeks either, because they was giving up runs with Daniel Jones, giving up runs with Saquon Barkley. You know what I'm saying? They finally came together a little bit, but then you got burned up in the past because you didn't have because Cam Kerr was out, but you didn't put nobody in there to play up to stop the tight end catching. So the defense hasn't played up that much either. So it's a whole slew of things. But like I said, this is a make or break for us. Win or go home. Carson Wentz, you can either win this game or then you'll be looking for a new starting job, because me personally, he loses this game, ain't no way in the world I'm going to bring him back for some more money. You know what I'm saying? Even if he won the last two games, I still won't bring him back. He's just not the kind of quarterback that I need at this point.
Yeah. The only job he should ever get from here on is a backup job. Or if he wants to go to the USFL, or if he wants to go to the XFL, or if he wants to go to the Arena Football League or whatever. But at this
don't
point,
do that to me.
This is what
I don't cover Carson Wentz again. I'm good.
This is what Carson Wentz should be doing from now on. Holding the tablet.
Exactly.
With the
And the
clipboard.
headset.
He's Mitch Trubisky. That's
Did
who
you see
he
those
is
custom
now.
shoes he made? Those custom Nikes he made?
No.
Oh man, I'm
For
gonna find a
playing
picture.
for playing in the game in last week's game?
No,
this
I
upcoming
don't know.
week?
It's some holiday shoes. They got pictures of man.
Yeah.
It's hideous. It is so hideous. But
So
yeah,
the shoes are like his play, essentially.
yeah. But
Just as delusional as his play is and as his coach is. Look,
yeah,
we've talked about this so many times. At this point, ride with Heineke. Man, he is your best chance to win. Now, I hope Commanders win tomorrow. But you if you look at a full game of Carson Wentz playing, there hasn't been a game this season, I don't think, where he's consistently played well enough for one complete game for you to make this decision or this choice.
but see, Ben, this is the argument I keep going back to the others that's on my panel, and they don't be understanding what I be trying to say because they sit there and say, "Well, Carson has got a bigger arm. We could get the ball to our receivers." I say, "But our team is not make up to throwing the ball all over the field. It's not that kind of team. The team is a run-based team first. Ron Rivera even say it, but they don't listen to him. They just Scott Turner do whatever he want to do. The thing about it is that the argument for them to say, well, Carson Wentz had Brian Robinson. Okay, he ain't had Brian Robinson, or he ain't had no connection with Terry. But that doesn't mean you ain't had what's the dude name on McKissick and Antonio Gibson and Logan Thomas and the other tight ends, and you still had all the receivers. So there's no excuse for you not to be productive as a quarterback the first 4 games of the season. Yeah, we had to play both our division rivals, Philly and Dallas, the first 2 games. But then we almost lost the game against the Bears. He threw a block, but then he hurt his finger in that game. Then we turned around and lost. The next week, we lost to Tennessee, where he could have ran it in from the goal line. He's 6'5". You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So and then, granted, to be honest or fairness, we should have been 0-6, to be honest with you. Because the first game of the season, we had a 14-point lead over Jacksonville. They came back on us, and we had to fight to win that game. Then we lost to Detroit. Then we came back and scored 20-something points, but the game was already decided at that point. Philly spotted us. They was 24, and they sacked us, 9 times. So they already set the tone. So we scored 3 points. Same thing with Dallas. So what are you really telling me about Carson Wentz from that point anyway? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because we literally could have been 0-6. And guess what? We would have been a top 5 in going into the draft this year.
Trash juice. That's what Carson Wentz is. Trash juice.
Well, that's one juice I don't want to drink.
Absolutely.
So with all that being said, Browns are coming into town. You got a win or an L?
I'm optimistic. You know what I'm saying? Because this is my team. We winning. If we don't win, y'all better not look at my Facebook because it's gonna be on fire. I'm telling you,
it's gonna be burning.
Boy, oh yes, I already gave it. I already gave the warning. I'm telling you, we don't win going in 2023. I'm flaming the coach, the quarterback, everything. So they better get ready. But the Cleveland Browns, they got a good defense. I can't overlook Myles Garrett and Javion Clowney. I won't do that. But Deshaun hasn't played good, but that doesn't mean we the kind of team that a bad team gets right for. You know what I'm saying? So we'll go into the game thinking, oh, yeah, we got this in the bag, and Scott Turner will call some crazy game, and guess what? We struggling to come back because we done gave up a lead or they done got a little lead on us. This game is going to be close. It's going to be one of those close games how Washington always have all of their games. It could be a 19-17 game, 20-17 game. I give Washington the edge. But trust me, I ain't going to be surprised if we lose either. That's just the way. That's just how I'm in. I want us to win. I'm expecting us to win. But I'm not going to be surprised if we lose the game.
Yeah. I hear you. And we have one other question I want to pose to you from a viewer before the show. They
Okay.
said, was it smart to invest, or is it currently smart to continue to invest in Chase Young? He played last week. Seems like he's going to play this week. But give me your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I think it's smart to invest in him. He's the number 2 overall pick. He had 7.5 sacks his rookie year. He got hurt in his second year, so he had to work his way back. You want to see what his production level is now, especially going into the latter part of the season and into the playoffs, if Washington gets in the playoffs. So you want to see what you have in him, because 2023 season is going to be big for him, because he's going to be working for a new contract, after that season.
Yep.
Deron Payne gonna get paid from us. The dude only need a half sack, to have 10 sacks for the team this year. Chase is going to be working his way back. How confident he is in his leg? He looks confident. He's been playing. He played more snaps than he did. They expected him to against the 49ers. He did some stuff. He ran McCaffrey down from the back. He batted the ball down. Almost had an interception off of that. That could have really set the tone for the game. So I think Chase is going to be fine. I think our defensive unit is the catalyst for our team. And keeping him in the fold is going to be smart. We got Federa Mathis that got injured in the first or second game of the season, the rookie for Alabama. He's coming back next year, so that's going to beef up more of our interior line. So, yeah, I think it's smart to invest in Chase Young. I mean, his second season wasn't that great, prior to his injury, but now he's hungry and he wants to prove himself. So from this point into next year, yeah, we see what he does next year. That's going to be I think the interesting fact of Chase Young next year.
Yeah. And I think the biggest thing is he's going to be in his contract year next year. Mm-hmm. And NFL players, they're not dumb. They know it's their contract year. Mm-hmm. He's going to play his absolute best season of his entire life next year. Oh, yeah. So sometimes with some of these players, it is a buyer beware, because it happens to every single player, bearing if they get injured. But he's going to be 100% ready. I guarantee you he's probably going to have the most sacks he's had in his whole career. I think he is a talent, though. I think you should continue to invest in him. Now, depending on what happens next year, is what's going to determine how much he's going to make. Because they may, some teams are, all right, we'll sign you, but you got to give us a friendly discount, or we're going to have to put the franchise tag on you. So I think it's going to be a interesting conversation, especially with possible new ownership, possible new coaches. So that's
the expectation
big time storyline.
Yeah, the expectation is going to be really high next year, because just everything that you stated with ownership, coaching, or whatever, the expectation is going to be high, because we got 3 guys on our team that has over 5 sacks. Payne has 9, 9.5. Allen has 7.5. Montez has 7. And Chase going to have to come and put in that kind of work like Montez on the other end and get about close to 7.5 sacks next year. He can't have 3 sacks and expect to get paid. They're not going to do that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, because
your counterparts are outworking you. So
exactly, because guess what? Montez going to get paid right after Deron Payne, and then you coming behind him, and then if you don't produce how he was, then how you gonna look at the ownership in their face, or the coach and say, well, hey, this is kind of money because I'm the number 2 overall. That doesn't matter, because they're gonna say, well, you was hurt a year 2 and you had to work yourself back. So we haven't seen the kind of production that you are capable of putting out. So yeah.
Sam, you want to mention anything?
I was just gonna say, in 25 games, he's got 9 sacks. So I mean, when you look at it that way, if he doesn't ball out in 2023, does he really even deserve another contract from Washington? I personally don't think so.
And honestly, if he doesn't ball out by the time the end of that year, Me personally, I would look to move him, get draft capital off of him, find somebody younger. They coming out of college like roaches, you know what I'm saying? So so
Hey,
man, you
that edge rusher is a big time spot now.
exactly. So
Yeah.
therefore, we don't have to pay you if you ain't producing, and somebody would take you, you know what I'm saying, for a second round pick or most likely a second round pick, you know what I'm saying? But like Sam said, I mean, 9 sacks, you know what I'm saying? That's not good.
Yeah, that's not the numbers that like I said the rest of the people on your line rocking with. Cool.
Exactly.
You want to add anything?
It's going to be a pivotal year for Chase Young. I mean, I've seen him in person, and that's a massive man. But you got to still get it done. Doesn't matter how big you are, you got to get it done.
Yeah, you got to.
He looks like in shorts and a t-shirt, man. He looks like a monster. He looks like the prototype. But it's what you can do when the pads go on and you got to go up against other people. And after the injury, especially, you're now looking at him as kind of like a clean slate. Like, okay, so what are we gonna get? What do you got?
Right.
Are you gonna come back just as good as better? Are you gonna be worse? Are you gonna be the same? What are we gonna get?
Yeah, I agree.
True. All right, let's get into another matchup for tomorrow. Saints let me see. Saints at Eagles. Is Andy Dalton? I'm assuming Andy Dalton's still the quarterback. What a complete and utter disaster.
Why he still got a job?
I don't even know. I don't know what's going on there at all. I don't know. But give me your thoughts. I'm gonna go to you first. Cool. So Minshew versus the Red Hornets. The Red.
We should have another week of Minshew mania. I think he's going to be able to do enough to win this game. Hopefully, we run the ball more. Hopefully, the defense is kind of stepping up. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson should be playing this week. It's not official yet, but I'm hoping he does play. But even if he doesn't, we should have enough, to get this win.
Yeah.
It's concerning because we got 2 games that we need to win, just one of these 2 games. But you still have to go out and win the game. And that's why I think things get a little concerning. You have to go out and do what you need to do. We do that at times, but at times we lull. I will say to Sam, I do have Hurts as quarterback in my league, but I was able to go grab Minshew. And I have Devontae Smith. So I feel good about Minshew playing because Devontae Smith is a much better receiver with Gardner Minshew than he has been throughout the course of the year with Jalen Hurts. And that's not to say he's been bad with Jalen Hurts, but he had a very great game with him. And that was the main guy that he was looking at. I mean, he was giving throws to AJ as well, but he was looking for Devontae Smith. That seems to be the guy that he has the most chemistry with. So if you have Devontae Smith in your roster for fantasy football, you might want to start him in your championship game this week. And be like me. I don't have him in the league that I actually am in the fantasy Super Bowl with, but I'm trying to get this $200. So I hope I can get this dub tomorrow. Yeah. On the side note,
got some money on the line.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and I agree with you 100%. I think the Eagles will do enough to get the win. It's a home game. I don't trust Andy Dalton at all. Your biggest concern, obviously, is going to be Kamara and what he is and isn't going to be able to do.
If he plays,
that's he's he's questionable.
Or I have him in fantasy. Yeah, he's questionable.
Okay, so if he does not play, then I think it's going to be a long day for Andy Dalton. All right, Sam.
Well, unfortunately, cool. I also picked up Minshew, but the guy I was playing had Hawkinson, so there was not much I could do at that point. Wow. He had Hawkinson and Henry actually. I think he outscored everybody else that week. So unfortunately, I did lose out in the playoffs due to Gardner Minshew's turnovers ultimately, but it wasn't his fault, I would say. But with all that being said, I personally feel 100% confident with Gardner Minshew behind the wheel. There's a reason why we haven't traded him away. I guarantee right now we have gotten offers for him. They weren't enough to ship him out. That's the only reason he's still here. I guarantee it. He's starting caliber quarterback. At the end of the day, we knew the way that Jalen Hurts plays, he was going to miss some time, and that's why Gardner Minshew is so valuable to the Eagles in particular. There's a reason why he's still on the roster, and there's a reason why he will continue to be on the roster, most likely until his contract expires. I don't think we're going to trade him away again because we know Hurts is going to get banged up with the way he plays. So, unfortunately, we had to test out Minshew this year. I still think that, we should have won that game had we, maybe not had some mistakes fall our way. But I do think Minshew's going to ultimately have plenty to beat the Saints this week. So it'll be interesting to watch. Really, the only thing that scares me on their offense is Taysom Hill, and that's for about 3 to 5 plays a game, and then everything else is pretty vanilla. So, yeah, I personally think this is going to be a win for Philadelphia this week.
I like Gardner Minshew. He's cheap. We could have had him in Washington, and that $28 million could have went somewhere else to beef up that the offensive line, and get a linebacker. But no, our coaching staff is so not human. You know what I'm saying? So delusional. So man, we could have got Jameis Winston. We could have got Gardner Minshew. Everybody was talking about Mitchell Trubisky, and I was like, no, we don't need that. You know what I'm saying? We need somebody that would not cost us a lot of money, and then we could just build that bridge, you know what I'm saying, and add to the pieces instead of going out and spending $28 million for a guy that has that seems like he's the only kid in his family, you know what I'm saying? And Carson Wentz's best years is behind him. You know what I'm saying? He can't move out the pocket no more, and
very mobile.
And he's not mobile. You know what I'm saying? You have to have a great offensive line to protect him for him to use that arm. You know what I'm saying? If the offensive line bad, then him having a strong arm don't really mean nothing. You know what I'm saying? Because there's times in the games this year he has overthrown a guy that was 6'5" by his height. You know what I'm saying? So,
arm versus accuracy.
He's not that accurate.
Yeah, he's not that accurate.
He's not that accurate.
Yeah.
You can have an arm all day, but if you can't get the ball to the open wide receiver,
you gotta have a great catch radius to get the ball from Wentz as well.
That's just like the Lions back in the day and the Raiders. Speed kills, but none of them can catch.
Exactly. And see, go back to the question which you presented to me earlier, Ben, about the Chase Young situation. When we was there to draft and Chase Young, we was number 2. We picked him number 2 overall. We could have picked Justin Herbert. We could have had our future quarterback by now. Wow. You know what I'm saying? And the way Ron Rivera did in these last drafts, Conley built the team. You could have easily did the same thing that year, built them piece by piece, and still had your starting quarterback in place.
Well, can I ask you one question about that, Martin?
Yes, sir.
Do you think that Justin Herbert would have got the coaching in Washington to develop the way he has?
Dang, I wish I had something. Them Jabberwocky masks? I wish I had one of them because that's what I would have did. No, but that's what I'm saying. Our coaching staff can't think straight, man. They don't. I don't know, man. Sometimes I get so exhausted talking about it because it's like Pinky in the Brain type of thing. He wants to rule the world, but he doesn't do it from a logical standpoint. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So Justin Herbert would have made more sense. But coaching wise, they don't know how to develop quarterbacks because the quarterback coach that you had back in the day to develop, like you develop Cam, he's all the way in Buffalo right now. So now Ken Zampese is a quarterback's coach, but I'd rather him be the offensive coordinator because it seemed like he got more rapport with Heineke than and everything. So me personally, if you could get rid of Scott Turner and Ken Zampese was there, I will be more comfortable. But matter of fact, I think ain't Jay Group. No, not mine. I'm going too far back. But anyway, to your question, Ron Rivera never did that. he picked Chase Young, and we missed out on Josh Allen also, which I advocated for Josh Allen when that year came, because I saw him on the combine. And I was like, we need this guy. This guy could throw the ball. We need a guy. He's big and tall. We missed out on him too. So yeah, and Justin Fields and my grandmama's cookies. So there you go.
Man, it's funny when you can look back and see what your team missed. It's funny and it makes you angry. There's a lot. There's a lot of. They could have went one other way, and it could have changed, the whole, trajectory of the team.
We could have had Michael Parsons, but Dallas jumped us to get him.
Yeah,
Washington don't make them kind of moves in the draft.
We could have had Justin Jefferson, but instead we drafted. I can't even say that dude's name.
You beat me to it.
So man, yeah, shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Yeah, that's true. All right, we got Colts at Giants. Wise had to step off, but I think we can all agree, Giants in this situation. The coach is starting Nick Foles. The Colts experience continues. I cannot wait till that offseason. I don't know what exactly they're going to do. I think the Colts are sitting. Jonathan Taylor's out for the year. Their wide receiving core is still decent. And I think Nick Foles, I don't think will have a horrible game, but I think the Giants are gelling right now. It's a home game. They're fighting for the playoff position. So I'm going to go with our NFC East brethren, and I think they're going to get the win. Anybody disagree?
The Cowboys get the win?
Giants.
The Giants
win. Yeah.
Honestly, yeah. Giants, honestly, they control their own destiny. They'll have to literally lose the last two games to really, because they like a game up over Seattle, though. You know what I'm saying? A game and a half. So if they lost yesterday, they will have to win the Philly game, which the Philly game won't even really matter because they'll probably be resting. So the Giants pretty much in a good standpoint. I think they got enough to beat the Colts. The Colts don't really want to win. You know what I'm saying? It's like they're giving games away. If my team had to play them 16 games out of the year, yeah, we'll probably be 16-1 right now. So they're giving games away. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to. They had a chance to beat the Eagles. I think they had a chance to beat the Cowboys. So we beat them. So the Giants is the last of the either look like they're gonna lose or because the Giants had Minnesota on the ropes too. So I just think the Giants will win this game. They'll win it. I think they're gonna rely on Saquon Barkley a lot. You know what I'm saying? In this game, just keep it sweet and simple for Daniel Jones. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I don't see the Giants not making the playoffs. They'll be there.
Yeah. All right. Cowboys beat the Titans on Thursday. Was a little bit of a rocky game till the fourth quarter, really. Going into the fourth, it was 17-13. You got a Joshua Dobbs sighting, which they didn't start Malik Willis. I'm like, wow, they must really do not believe in Malik Willis. If they're starting Joshua Dobbs, they just signed.
I don't know if Malik was hurt though.
Well, here's the thing.
I don't think he was hurt.
I actually read something and talked about it and researched it a little bit. So this game didn't matter for the Titans. Yeah. They had nothing to play for. They have to win next week against Jacksonville to make the playoffs. So they rested all their starters this week to try to go out and win this game next week to make the playoffs. Because whoever wins that game between them and the Jaguars wins the division and gets a playoff spot. So they had no motivation to play their starters.
Yeah, and I did hear that too.
Yeah.
But I was just so I don't know if that means they're gonna start Willis next week or
that's the question. That's the question.
Because part of what I read is that they don't think he's fully grasping the playbook, and they're saying he hadn't been able to make the throws. I don't know how many games he's played this year. So I don't think he's played more
He
than
didn't play
5.
many, yeah.
So, I mean, like, I don't know. I didn't get that move, but I get it if you don't have nothing to play for. A-Trap says the G-Man secondary is beat up. It's an upset special. But I'm starting to believe the Colts are even
Evil geniuses.
Evil geniuses higher Saturday to mask the fact that they're tanking. And that's a good point. I mean, they literally got this guy from NFL in the Morning or whatever show he was on.
Or ESPN.
Yeah, right. Just meet us in Indy tomorrow. He's like, to coach? Like, yeah, we went to the coach. He was like, oh, okay,
All right.
I can do that. All right. As long as you paying, I'll be there.
I think he'll end up in that front office next year. I think this is just for him to get. I've said this before. I think it's just for him to get some coaching experience, so that'll prepare him to go into that front office. I think Saturday's going to that front office next year.
Yeah.
I think he's hired full time as the coach this offseason, but we'll see.
I think so too. I think so too.
That is one interesting story. With
Well,
a
it's
lot
gonna
of
be
guys
interesting
on that
for
staff.
sure.
With a lot of guys on that staff with coaching experience, and they got somebody. I think Irsay is just a little loopy, and he just like, look, at this point, let's just do something completely out of the box that nobody was expecting me to do, and he did that. He definitely did what nobody expected him to do.
He's the drunk version of Daniel Snyder.
Basically, yeah.
The tipsy one.
Because the thing about it, you literally call a dude out of the ESPN desk and say, hey, I need you to come in to intern to coach my team. No coaching experience. When you have all these guys that you could call up just to say, hey, just carry our team to the end of the season until I make a decision on coaching. You know what I'm saying? Now, Jeff Saturday, whatever you done told Jeff Saturday, I'm sure it doesn't matter, because if he is getting a job, now the pressure going to really be on him. And I think Jeff Irsay is probably going to just allow him to be there long enough until he can't take it anymore, or whatever the case might be. But that was a bad move. You should have just stuck with Frank Wright to the rest of the season, then fire the man, get rid of it. Whatever.
Frank lost the locker room though.
Yeah. And then you done started Drizzle. What's the other dude name? Daniel. What's the quarterback name over there? I can't even remember. Then you started Matt Ryan. Ryan. Yeah, Bellinger. Matt Ryan still shell sharp from that Super Bowl, so he never been right anyway. You know what I'm saying? Then you brought Nick. Then you brought in Nick Foles, another Ryan Fitzpatrick situation. You know what I'm saying? It's time to go and get your quarterback, get your coach, and then just do it the right way. I mean, Andrew Luck is not coming back. He done lost a ton of weight. You know what I'm saying? He's joining life.
They ain't been the same. They ain't been the same since Andrew Luck. The way Andrew Luck did them, which I don't blame him. They haven't been the same since that. They must be scared to start from scratch, because
they better do something, because man,
scratch already.
that instant coffee ain't working.
Right. That 5-hour energy ain't working, man. You got to put in that work.
They got that stacker, the one you used to get at the dollar store. That's what they got. 5 hours.
Yeah, they just keep stacking on top. I mean, and it's funny because right now it's like I sit back and in the draft, everybody was like, everybody in the Washington community, even some content creators that I follow, they was like, oh, Malik Willis. I'm like, no. I was only 2 quarterbacks that I really wanted Washington to have. One is in Atlanta, because I was very high on Desmond Ridder. I'm still is. I love Desmond Ridder. To me, he would have been perfect for this offense. Perfect. And Kenny Pickett. Them was the only 2. Sam Howell was a 3rd, but he was not like my top choice.
I'll be honest with you, man. I think that Malik Willis in the right situation is a really great option, because you got to realize he played for the Liberty Flames in college. He didn't have great wide receivers. He didn't have a great line. Yeah. And he still went out there and played so well. I mean, he still played for the Liberty Flames.
Yeah. And he transferred. He transferred from
Auburn. Cool sound like he was about to cry. He played for the Liberty Flames.
Liberty Flames, y'all. I mean, you giving this man a hard time, and he was playing for the Liberty Flames.
My bad. I'm so sorry.
But no, I think that dead serious though. I think if you give Malik a year or two, like Malik is the quarterbacks that we used to get 5-10 years ago. You come in, you don't start them right away. You let them sit for a year or two. You let them learn. You have a bridge quarterback in front of them, and
I
then you
agree.
elevate them to the position.
Yeah.
If we didn't have a quarterback, I would have liked him because he's a dual threat, and I do
Mhm.
believe that to be dangerous in today's NFL,
Yeah.
you have to have a dual threat. You don't have to be a guy that'll run every play, but you have to be a guy that the team has to say. We have to account for the fact that he has that ability.
You
And
got to
if you
have
have
some
that,
legs.
yeah,
Yeah.
Mhm.
I do want to ask y'all a question, because the question I want to ask is going, I want y'all analysis on it. So whenever, we get down to the wire or whatever, I ask it. I ask the
Okay.
question.
Okay. All right. So Cowboys beat Titans again, a little bit closer than what I wanted. I think this team as a whole is. Oops, sorry. I think this team as a whole is a little shaky. Like I said earlier, down towards the end of games. I do like CeeDee Lamb with 11 catches, 100 yards. Can't beat that. Dalton Schultz.
Mm-hmm.
T.Y. Hilton was a better signing, hands down, than OBJ.
Yeah.
There's really no shocker there. T.Y. Hilton was ready. OBJ was not. I think the OBJ sweepstakes is over for this year. I don't see any reason. I don't see any team signing him this year. So we can probably stop with that story. It'll probably be next year, depending on whatever he decides to do.
Mm-hmm.
But the team overall, and Dak proved that he can finish out a game. He did throw 2 picks, and this was with Tony Pollard not playing, and they still got what was that about? They got 87 yards rushing. So it was a good win. I think it was an important win, and they'll be going into next week. So excuse me. Let's look into the playoff scenarios here, because as of right now, all teams are in the playoffs. And we have Cowboys as the 5th, Giants as the 6th, Washington as the 7th. Right now, Philly is the 1st. But the way things could possibly go, I think Dallas could possibly go into that number 1 spot. Some things would have to happen. Obviously,
Yep.
Philly would have to lose their final 2 games. I don't know if I see that happening. But if Hurts isn't playing these last 2 games, I would say anything is possible. And we're gonna be facing each other. So Giants, we're predicting them to win tomorrow. They play at Philly, so that's gonna be an interesting game there. Dallas plays at Washington, so we're gonna end up canceling 1 or 2 teams out based on how all this goes. And I think makes this end of the season interesting. Cool. You want to touch on that?
Yeah. So I mean, essentially, for the playoff picture to work, for everyone to get in, this is the only path. The Eagles need to win this week. That clinches the 1st seed. That clinches, the NFC. But that allows us for Dallas to say, you know what, we have no reason to really go out here and play next week. We can play a little bit. We can rest our guys. That gives the Commanders a chance to win that game, which they're going to need that win in order to get in the playoffs. Now, if Dallas wants to say we don't want the Commanders in the playoffs and we're going to go out there and try to beat them, that's something within Dallas. But I think from the overall perspective, Dallas has already won. Philly wins. Dallas has no reason to play next week because they can't move out of the 5th seed.
Right.
Philly wins. They have no reason to play. They're going to play the backups at least most of the game against the Giants, which allows the Giants to get another win, even if they win this week. I'm pretty confident the Giants are going to be in as the 6th seed. The question is the 7th seed because the Commanders are going to have to stave off the Lions and the Packers. And ironically, Aaron Rodgers still has a shot.
And
it's
Seattle.
An outside shot, but it's a shot. I'm not counting Seattle disrespectfully because I think Geno Smith just came back down to earth. And I don't think he's going to be able to go out and do what he was doing earlier in the year. Apparently, he decided to write back a couple weeks ago.
I didn't write back though, but I did write back in the last 2 weeks.
Disrespectful.
Oh man, that's disrespectful. That is disrespectful. Oh
That's
my
I'm
good.
just going off what he's showing me the last couple of weeks.
Oh my
and
gosh.
their end of their last two games are against the Jets and the Rams.
Two very winnable games.
Two very winnable
Mhm.
games. You're right about
But
that.
hold on,
You're
y'all
right
got to
about
remember
that.
something. Mike White is back for the Jets. That's a different team now.
Mike White. One of them.
Mike who?
4 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, Mike White.
Mhm.
Hey, winner Mike White.
He can
Right.
win. He can win.
wins.
It's that Jets D too, really.
Yeah, as
Yeah.
long as
That's
Mike
true.
White does enough to win the game, and that's what he's
If he don't mess
for.
it up.
Yeah, as long as he don't
That's
mess it
true.
up. And
If
hasn't
he
messed
doesn't
it up.
write back,
Right.
If he just remembers that he's not Zach Wilson and he's in for a reason, the Jets should beat them this week. The Jets have Ben said, a pretty good defense. I'm not counting Seattle because I don't feel like they're really going to be able to sustain. Great story. They've had a great year. If they're wise, they're going to say, you know what? If we sign Geno back, it needs to be at a reasonable deal, and we need to go draft a guy or bring in another free agent because, I mean, you're not going to go anywhere in the playoffs with Geno Smith. I love the Geno Smith
100%.
story. I wish it was different, but it's not. My man's 30, 31 years old. He's not going to go out there and develop in the next 2 or 3 years until he's a great quarterback.
If you think about it,
5 years ago.
if you think about it, Seattle set themselves up perfectly because of how badly Denver's played. So they have the number 3 pick currently, or as it stands, the number 3 pick. So they can get a quarterback 3rd overall, and they still have their own 1st round pick to draft whatever position of need, and then they have 2 the following season as well. So they got their bridge quarterback, their young quarterback, and plenty of draft capital elsewhere. So that Russell Wilson trade's looking very, very intelligent for Seattle currently.
And speaking of teams with another team's draft pick, extra motivation for the Philadelphia Eagles. You want a better draft pick? We need to go out and whoop the Saints because we have their 1st round pick. So let's go get ourselves a better pick by getting a win.
Yeah.
And from now on, we can no longer call him Russell Wilson. We have to call him Mr. Unlimited. Boy, that is the absolute worst.
Boy.
Bro, you were married to Sierra. You should have showed that to her first. She would have told you better get that out of here.
Mr.
Yeah.
Harris.
Huh?
We call him Mr. Harris until he plays better.
I'm not calling him nothing. He don't burn down Christmas for me. He don't get it.
If you want to play like that, we'll acknowledge him with his wife's last name.
Yeah. Now back to the Green Bay that you mentioned. They play the Vikings and the Lions. Those, if he is on, if Aaron Rodgers is on his game, which is on a 3-game winning streak, he knows what's at stake. He has not played to his MVP caliber level, but these last 2 games are definitely winnable for them, and I do see them possibly getting in there. But if that was to happen, that means obviously they would have to knock one of our teams out. So hopefully that does not happen. But Sam, anything you want to add on the playoff situation?
No, I think actually it's highly likely at this point that the scenario that Cool laid out is most likely to happen. I personally think we're going to see all 4 teams in the playoffs.
Yeah, be beautiful.
Washington.
Right.
Yeah.
We still watching y'all.
I'm gonna still make a call tonight, and I'm gonna have to tell Ron Rivera you're gonna either have to get some better glasses or you're gonna have to drink some V8 or something on that sideline for tomorrow.
He need to drink some Pinot Grigio with
Bro, even if you need me to catch a red eye, I will come up there and personally be on the sideline with you. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I do believe we'll win. Like I said, it's capable we lose. But I do want all 4 of us in. And for Dallas' sake, I think Dallas will not, even if Green Bay win the last 2 games and Washington wins tomorrow, Dallas most likely will probably allow Washington probably win that game because Dallas would not want to have Washington lose and Green Bay gets in at 7th seed or the 5th seed or whatever the case may be, and then have to face them in the playoffs. That means you're gonna end up facing Tom Brady, and then say you get past Tom Brady, and then you got to face Aaron Rodgers. That's not gonna be a good look for Dallas. You know what I'm saying? And Green Bay gives Dallas fits no matter how you cut it.
No matter what. No matter who, what, where, when. And Tom Brady does too. So yeah.
And this is something that I iterate all the time. No matter how bad Tom Brady's team has looked this year, they getting healthy at the right time. That's something all our teams going to have to watch out for. Because
I got to remember something, though. You're talking like Tom Brady's already in. He's not in yet. They still got to handle their business in Charlotte. And I'm going to tell you something. That Panthers team, I don't know where this came from.
Yeah, I don't know.
Actual NFL football team for one.
Yeah, they have playing good. But I still think Tom Brady will beat them for some reason. I just feel that way. But if they don't and Carolina get in, hey, more power to the Carolina Panthers. You know what I'm saying? They did something that passed Ron Rivera. You know what I'm saying? So that would be a good look.
Their head coach, either way, Steve Wilkes should be their head coach.
Yeah, so that would definitely be a good look for the Carolina Panthers post Ron Rivera era. You know what I'm saying? Getting into the playoffs. But say if Tampa Bay does get in, that's something that everybody has to watch out for because we all know Tom is playoff Tom. You know what I'm saying?
You got to whoop Tom Brady because if
exactly
in the game, the referee's gonna give him that game. You got to whoop him. That's what you got to do.
It's got to be no question.
I mean, everybody. I mean, I don't care if it's Dallas. I don't care if it's Philly, Giants, or whoever. If we have a matchup against Tom Brady, we got to take it to him because we don't want to be sitting up here like Denny Green after that. You know what I'm saying? We don't want.
Yeah, who we thought they were.
And we let them off the hook. So, but I think this year of NFL football to me is the most up in the air for any team.
True.
I'm looking at everybody was talking about Kansas City, Buffalo over there, but look who's quietly sneaking up there: Cincinnati. Cincinnati could be on the verge of going back to the Super Bowl. Any one of our teams have the capability of getting in the playoff and going to the Super Bowl. Just imagine all 4 NFC East teams get in, and then comes down to go to the Super Bowl is NFC East teams. That will be the beauty of it because that means we could definitely nominate ourselves as the best conference in football the whole year and the best division. So yeah. So
hands down at that point.
So yeah.
It's already hands down for me.
Be like this
here.
You too small. You too small.
Right.
Like Giannis did the other day.
Yeah.
Too small. Too small.
All right, Martin, you want to go ahead and ask you said you got a question?
Oh yeah, I do. All right. So I had this this tidbit of, with my other fellow commanders on Facebook about Taylor Heineke. They were saying, well, hey, he's short in stature, he's not strong enough, he can't throw down the field, which we all seen that he can't throw down the field and everything. When he got enough time, he could run out the pocket. The question is coaching. I don't think Scott Turner maximized Taylor Heineke to his full potential to be able to do the things that we all seen that he could do. Granted, he ain't played in 2 years. He came off his couch. He been with the system, whatever the case might be. It always go back to coaching with me because if Taylor Heineke was a 5-year starter and had these issues, I would be no argument. But a guy that's a backup, that's trying to be a starter, and we all know great coaching bring the best out of quarterbacks. So I'm gonna pose this question to you, Ben, and then you can share it around with everybody. Do you think if Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay, Andy Reid, Brian Dable, the work he has done with Daniel Jones, and somebody like a Ken Dorsey, if Taylor Heineke had any one of them coaches, how different Taylor Heineke would play?
I think he would play better, and I think it would. And those coaches you mentioned obviously are offensive scheming coaches, offensive minded coaches. So yeah, I 100% think he would play better because I think he would have a better backing for him. So I definitely agree with what you're saying. I think that, and I think maybe that's the step they need to make. Maybe they need an offensive minded coach that's in there because of what they have right now. I don't think lines up perfectly with him. And it seems like every play he's just out there trying to figure it out. He's doing one hell of a job figuring it out, but there doesn't really seem like there's a cohesiveness with him and the coaching staff. So
No.
yeah, cool.
I simply say, you have to play to your quarterback's strengths and mask some of the weaknesses. The Commanders are not doing that with Heineke. He has won games because the team plays hard for him. There's a thing called intangibles, and a lot of people want to overlook that, but that's very important in the quarterback. When your locker room follows him, when they want him to be the leader, when they play harder for him, that's intangibles. When you have the leadership intangibles, I'll go as far as Skip Bayless to say the leadership gene. Then you have to have that guy out there on the field, and you have to say, this is what Taylor Heineke does well. This is what he does not do well. He's going to have to do things he doesn't do well at times, but let's get him in a rhythm. Let's go to his strengths. Let's give him confidence. Then let's say, hey, now this is not something that you're best at, but go out and do this now. That's something that hasn't really happened for him for most games. It happened against the Philadelphia Eagles, which is why you beat us. He went out there and he played a very masterful game. Why can't the coaching staff do that for him every game? Because they're not taking the time to maximize the mismatches that are there and put him in positions to be successful. And they think they're going to put in the one-legged goat looking running Carson Wentz, and he's going to all of a sudden be a spark. If Carson Wentz is a spark in that game, then somehow he has been blessed by the football gods on Saturday night tonight. That is the only possible way I see. The football gods come down around him like the spirits, ancient spirits, the Eagles did with Mumra, and give him power. That is the only way he's going to be a spark for you guys tomorrow.
All right, Sam.
So I've got kind of an interesting take on this. So I personally think if Ron Rivera is not the coach for Taylor Heineke, he never sees the field unless there's an injury. Yes, he's got the intangibles, but if you look back at his career, the only coach he's played for has been Ron Rivera. You know, before he came to Washington, he had that brief stint with Carolina. And before that, he had 1 year in Houston, you know, and he didn't really play with them. So personally, I don't think he ever sees the field with any other coach. So no, I don't think Ron Rivera is doing the best job of showcasing him. But with that being said, any other coach, Heineke's probably no better than a third string quarterback, especially with the experience that he had coming into Washington.
That's a good point.
No, that's a good interesting take.
Good point.
So
yeah, straight for the jugular, man. He acting like an Eagles fan over there, man.
I know. So I mean,
well,
but
I mean, not to jump down his throat or anything, but I mean, I was an XFL fan. He was a backup in the XFL to Jordan Teamu, who is still in the USFL. So I mean, there was a very realistic possibility that he was never going to be back in the NFL, but his former coach brought him back.
Good point. Good point.
Yeah.
Sam, the football expert, man. Whatever
All
league
right,
it
Sam.
is.
Hey,
Sam,
you want to be the
knowledge,
offensive coordinator for Washington?
My phone's right here and on. I'm just saying, give me a call.
I'd rather you be the quarterback. I'd rather you be the quarterback coach for the Eagles.
I'll take that job too.
Right. But
all right,
I mean, but no, that's a very interesting take though. But I just feel that, you know, if he had like a great coach, regardless of his journey, they could easily bring out and maximize his talent. I mean, look at Ryan Fitzpatrick. Look at Andy Dalton. Look at Colt McCoy. I mean, look at Geno Smith resurrect his career. You know what I'm saying? It's just coaching does a lot for a person, you know, and I just don't feel like Ron Rivera, Doom has done anything to benefit Taylor Heineke at this point. I mean, they gave him opportunity, great, but what if we didn't could get Carson Wentz? What if we had to go with Taylor Heineke from the jump? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I think to your point, Martin and Sam's, I think Riviera believes in him, but is he giving him all of the possible tools to be the most successful he can be? And maybe that's more so the question. And we'll see.
No.
You know, I mean, with this game right now, with this game tomorrow, these last 2 games of the season, we'll see what Heineke's career is going to be from here on, because that'll be an interesting story this offseason. What were you gonna say, Cool?
I was just going to say the answer to that is no. And for anybody who wants to update, it's 35-24 Ohio State over Georgia right now in the third quarter.
Wow, we could have TCU, Ohio State.
TCU taking it all.
Wow.
If TCU wins a national championship this year, I will buy a piece of TCU paraphernalia.
Yeah, you might be, depending on what's going on. Hey, Sonny Dykes, the coach of TCU, might have signed that extension too soon, because winning the national championship. I don't know if you might have to come back to him.
Hey, look, you know how that go, Ben. Y'all can give me some more money, or I can get a buyout, and I can be up out of here. I'm
Right.
the winner.
Yeah.
His first year too.
Oh, yeah.
Gary Patterson was there. I don't know how many years, 15, possibly 20.
Patterson
they
built a good
played
program
well.
at TCU, though. Yeah, he built a good program.
He had a great
built
run. He had a great run.
Yeah.
All right, you guys, let's round it out. Man, we had a lot to get to on this episode 14, week 17. We'll be back next week with another great show. Any final words from you all? Cool.
Eagles, do your job this week. Make things simple for everybody. Don't play. Let's get a better draft pick. Let's take the soul from the Saints this week. Let's send them marching home crying. And let's get ready for that first round bye and its deep playoff run. Flags fly.
Yeah. Sam.
Who they think they're gonna beat them Eagles?
Sam, I like your attitude, man.
All right, Martin.
Well, Commanders, you only got one job. One job only is to win. Win. Can Ron, Baby Smurf put it together? Can they put it together? Make me a believer. Make me not have to bring y'all head this weekend. Win this game. We need to be in the playoff, man. This will do a lot for Ron's career. You took us to the playoff 2 years out of 3. I mean, it's a lot on the line. Carson Wentz, you need to right the wrong for last year. There's a lot of pressure right now. I mean, and we ain't talk about Daniel Snyder, so we ain't worrying about him. Let this team get in the playoffs. Let's see what we could do once we get there. Win this game, go to Dallas, win that, and the rest, let the chips fall where they may. That's it. All I want is a win.
Historicals, man. Historicals. We need you, Washington. You who we watching. Y'all who we watching.
Yeah. Cowboys, just sit at home and don't get hurt. Don't do nothing out of the ordinary. Just sit at home on your couch. Don't get hurt. Don't get no motorcycle accidents. Don't do nothing stupid. Kelvin Joseph, just make sure you tell the coaching staff you only play special teams from now on. And that's it. That's all we need to do. Eagles Elite on YouTube. Make sure to like and subscribe. Play Callers on YouTube, which we're live on right now. Sam Shady Sports Network. Make sure to like and subscribe. Live Wire Sports, which is also on YouTube. He's got his handle there as well. Make sure to follow. Shout out to Couch Coach. We're live on his Twitter. He wasn't able to be on tonight, but shout out to you throughout this season. And Wise, Real Wise Radio, and who else? Nathan, the NR Hour. And we appreciate you guys' support tonight. We'll be back next week with another show. Hopefully it'll be even more to talk about as far as these teams being in the playoffs So thank you guys for tuning in. Have a great rest of your week and Happy New Year. Coming up in about, if you're Central Time, we were about 3 hours and 30 minutes. If you're on the East Coast, 2 hours and 30 minutes. If you're on the West Coast, however how long that is. All right, we'll see y'all.
Happy New Year.
Y'all
Happy
take
New
care.
Year, guys.
Peace. Happy
Yep.
New Year.